Hello, people on the internet. It's me, Grattify What Ifs, and hey, I bet you didn't expect to hear my voice on this channel now, did ya? But anyway, I'm back again with a new vid on a completely unexpected level, just like I said in my previous video. If you want, you can check out the link below for all of our channels. Me, Six Meister, Lord Zuko, and YK Anime. But anyway, this is what if Deku was Iron Man. And before I jump into the video, please do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and comment down below any kind of what if ideas they want me to do in the near future. Now that I've gotten the checklist out of the way, let's get to it! So we start this what if when Izuku was 4 years old. Everything happened normally, as you would expect in a kindergarten. Kids were playing, teachers were teaching, except there was one major difference. Everyone had a power, or a quirk, so to say. And having this quirk is what defines your future. Whether you become an anonymous villain, an absolute nobody seen in the public eye, or becoming a hero. And this was Izuku's dream, becoming a hero. And in turn, he was waiting ever so patiently for his quirk, expecting it to be something marvelous, just like everyone else. But it never came. He started to get worried, and had some reassurance from his mother and some of his friends that it will come eventually. Hell, even Katsuki Bakugo, his childlike bully or frenemy, is so to say, he said that it will come as well, but it won't be as cool as his. But the months went by, and Inko was worried. So she decided to take him to the hospital, where he would be examined. On the ride there, Izuku was playing around with his favorite All Might toy, pressing the button at the back, and it would always say, "I am here!" And Izuku will just begin to play with it. Inko will look at her son from time to time, at least glancing to see his smile, but she had concerns. When they finally reached the hospital, Inko went straight to the nurse's desk. "Ah, hello." The nurse greets Inko. Hi, I'm here to book an appointment." The nurse so cheerfully grabbed her pen and paper and said, "Oh, who is it for? You or the child?" "My son, please. A quirk doctor. There's something going on. He hasn't manifested his quirk yet." Inko gives her the details. "Ah, I see. Don't worry. We'll get one right away." Now, I don't know the name of the quirk doctor, so I'm not even going to bother with naming him at all or researching his name at all, because personally to me he's a dick, and if I'm lazy enough I'll put the reason why. Anyway, the next few minutes passed by and Inko was talking with her son, helping him through the hospital because he didn't really like hospitals. And well, to cope with this, he went to go ask his mom, "So what do you think my quirk is gonna be? Is it gonna be like Dad's?" He starts to imagine what it'd be like to be a hero that can breathe fire, the dragon hero. Already thinking up of cool names for it. Inko just looked at her son and smiled, saying, "Who knows, maybe it could be a mix of both of our quirks." And she started to give out like big exaggerations, trying to, keep her son happy. Until finally, one of the nurses had told them that the doctor was ready for the both of them. They got up and went to the quirk doctor's office, where he was waiting for them. He looked at the two and then grabbed his clipboard and said, you're Miss Midoriya? He spells out the name to see if he got it right. Inko nodded, confirming his spelling, and he just put down the clipboard and said, well, take a seat, because this is going to be a lot to explain. The doctor waited until they were comfortably in their seats before sitting down himself, and he looked at the both of them while lounging at his chair. And Inko simply just asked, so what's the diagnosis, doctor? He got some of his clipboard back and then went through it and said, there's no easy way to say this, but your son is quirkless. This shatters both Izuku and Inko. Inko, as her fear and concerns are coming to light, and Izuku, who is just in pure shock. Quirkless? Inko stammers. But how? As you may know, ma'am, the doctor begins to explain. There are two types of people in this world. Those that are quirked and those that are quirkless. So far, only 80% of the population are quirked, while the 20% aren't. And there is a way that we're able to know who is quirked and who isn't. He starts to pull out an x-ray of Izuku. You see this? He points at Izuku's toe. Little Izuku over here has this extra joint in his toe, and those that have this extra joint are diagnosed quirkless, as those that are quirked don't have this joint. And it may seem unconventional to you, but this has been the method we've been using since quirks have been popping up. And I'm just sorry to say this, but Izuku is just quirkless. Inko was still speechless and Izuku was still shocked. The only reaction that he had shown was him letting go of his All Might toy. As it clanged to the ground, its button was pressed and it still said, I am here. And Inko just politely got up and bowed to the doctor. Thank you for having us. The doctor just dismayed them and said, no worries, and I'm sorry for the predicament. As the both of them left the hospital, Inko noticed that her son wasn't really talkative today ever since the hospital. Throughout the entire ride until nightfall, he hadn't said a single word. She had decided to bake cookies for him to try and cheer him up, but as she was done baking and headed for his door, she stopped as she heard a noise coming from Izuku's room. She planted her ear on the door and heard All Might's voice, but it was the recording that she played for her son over 1,000 times to make him happy. It was the first time All Might ever appeared on the scene. As she opened the door, she was right. It was the All Might recording, but the lights were off and the chair wasn't shaking, which wasn't normal because Izuku will always be jumping with joy every time he sees All Might. Then she starts to hear him speak. Mom, is it still possible I can be a hero? He turns and faces his mother, who had her hand cupped over her mouth as she saw her son crying. And then he begins to point at the screen. Can I still be a hero without a quirk? Can I still be like him? By then, Inko already had tears running down her cheeks, and then she ran towards her son, hugging him and just apologizing, saying, I'm so sorry, Izuku. I'm so sorry. A few weeks passed by, and everyone in the entire school knew that Izuku was quirkless. And to add insult to this injury, everyone bullied him and always kept on insulting him. He did try to stand up for some people, but it didn't work out. So far, the only thing that happened to him during these weeks was that he felt majorly depressed. Except that was all going to change just this one day. So the teacher told them that they will soon be going on a field trip. And everyone was a bit excited because, let's be real with ourselves. Who wouldn't be excited at the sound of a field trip? So she gave them all slips to give to their parents when they reach home. And Izuku also heard this, but he wasn't really paying much attention. He was just so far just reading his books because that was the way that he could cope with all that was happening with him. And due to this, he was becoming really smarter than everyone in the entire class. After the day had finished and he went home, he gave his mom the slip and went upstairs to do his homework. He didn't really have much intentions of going to the field trip anyway. But after Inko read what the place was about, she went upstairs and began to conversate with her son. Izuku, this place actually seems pretty interesting. Don't you want to go? Izuku stopped doing his homework and looked at her mother in the eye and said, "But I don't want to go." Inko just asked, "Why not?" But at the back of her mind, she could already know what the answer was anyway. And Izuku just simply replied, "For the reason that I don't want to go to normal school anyway." I see. She dropped the slip on his table and began to talk more with him, looking at him in the eye. "Izuku, I know that... Honestly, I don't know what you're feeling, but I know that this place could help you. You like science, don't you?" "A little bit. So why don't you go? It seems pretty interesting." But he looked down on the floor and began to clench his fists. And Inko just said, "Well, if not for yourself, but can you at least do it for me? I just want you to be happy, that's all." Izuku looked up and saw the pained expression on his mom's face, and knowing that it wasn't making it easy for her, and also realized that it wasn't easy for her throughout this entire mess. "Okay, Mom, I'll go for you." She smiled at her son. "Thank you." Now, after the slip was signed, everyone gave the slips to their teacher on the Monday morning and they all went to the bus. As they did, everything was rowdy and Izuku was just writing his notebook for heroes, as he did still like heroes. The teacher told everyone to calm down, that they'll soon be there now. And Izuku, as he was writing, some people started to throw paper balls at him and also using a bit of their quirks to annoy him, like throwing in sticky balls and such. But they finally reached there, and as they did, they were greeted by a woman in a white dress. "Hello and welcome to Hammer Industries." She greeted the teacher and they began to conversate while the students were heading out in a single file. And just in case, because I feel like I'm a dumbass and I'll forget, they are all still kids and Izuku is still 4 years old. As he saw the giant building, he was amazed by its white infrastructure and the glass painted windows. As the teacher and the secretary were done conversating, they all went inside. The instructor / secretary began to tell them what it was about. You see, this entire place is actually just a branch of Hammer Industries. Our main headquarters is in London, led by our CEO, Justin Hammer. He creates some of the world's greatest technology and finds, and is also one of the top researchers in quirk development. they started to show off some of the amazing gadgets and technological advances that was there. Everyone was surprised by this, but not as much as Izuku. As he had already started to like science, this was already making it grow within him. In fact, he was starting to enjoy it just as much as he enjoyed Heroes. Seeing all of those machines even reminded him of some quirks. Then he asked the instructor, what's Mr. Hammer's quirk? Everyone at least laughed at him, thinking, look at him, the quirkless wonder is asking the guy's quirk, like as if he has any right to ask. The instructor didn't hear this and then just turned to Izuku and told him, oh, he doesn't have a quirk. Everyone was shocked, even the teacher. They were like, huh? You see, Justin Hammer was born quirkless, sadly, but that didn't stop him from creating Hammer Industries. As you can see, he also works with some top developers as well, like Dave Shield. They come across a hologram with Justin and Dave putting it together, basically handshake. Bakugo scoffed at this idea and he was like, so he's quirkless too. Kind of amazes me how much he's done, but it will never be as much as Heroes. Izuku did not bother hearing anything that Bakugo said, and neither did the instructor, and they continued to show off more and more of the branch, or building, if you want to call it. Basically, it's like just a branch of a huge company, which is Hammer Industries. I'm talking too much into detail, but anyway, that's how the field trip went, and everyone was subpar by it because they realized that Justin Hammer was quirkless, which kind of turned them off a bit. The teacher asked all of them how was the field trip, and all of them said that it was bad. It was meh. Bakugo was like, it was just boring. But then when it was Izuku's turn, it was like, it was the greatest thing ever. Although he shouted this too much and everyone just laughed at him a bit, but he didn't care. He was glad that he listened to his mom and he was happy by it. When he got home, he started to do research more on Hammer Industries and devoted most of his time reading science books and everything else that he could find on Hammer Industries. And so it began. One night, Inko came to check up on Izuku, but she didn't hear anything. When she opened the door, however, she saw that Izuku was passed out on a bunch of science textbooks that he borrowed from school and some that were also at home as well. Inko was happy with this and quietly made sure that she removed all the books from Izuku and then put it on his desk while covering him in a blanket and kissed him on the forehead while he was sleeping. Good night, Izuku. You're going to do great things. I know it. She left and gave over a glance to Izuku before turning off the lights. That's where I'm going to leave it off, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this part. Seriously though, I'm glad that I'm going to be doing this Iron Man Deku, and hey, I'm also going to be glad that I'm part of the avatars of the Mr. Clan. So if you want to chat with me and the boys, Sixmeister, Lord Zuko, and YK Anime, their Discord, no, not there, our Discord, man, my voice is stupid. Our Discord is in the link down below. But before you go to, do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and comment down below any kind of what if ideas they want me to do in the near future on my main channel or this channel. This is Grattify What Ifs signing off.